Hello, Bookman shoppers. My name is Ivan. I'm 21 years old, and I live in Flagstaff. I have two cats, one of which is running around, so if you hear someone, it's her. And today we'll be painting Saturn, because that is also my cat's name, so I thought it would be fun. For this, you want to make sure you have some supplies. I tried to keep it simple as far as colors, so hopefully you'll have all of them. But first, you'll need a pencil so you can draw on whatever you're doing, sketch it out. You'll need a paper towel to wipe off your wet brushes, a container of water so you can wash your brushes, and then yellow, black, white, and blue paints, and if you want, your favorite color. And then you'll also need something to mix those paints on. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is draw on your canvas what you want to draw. I'm in the corner here, hi. So to draw Saturn, it's pretty much just a big circle with rings. If you want to look up the picture so yours looks extra nice, go ahead. I'm not going to, I never do. So we're going to draw that right in the center. Just a nice big circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. No circle is really ever perfect. There you are. Can't really see it, but that's not the point of this one. Alright. So the next thing that you're going to want to put on is the rings. You can start at a side of the circle, and then bring it out a little bit, and then curve it, and go all the way across the planet. And get the other side curved off onto the other side. I like to make it at a slight angle, because I think that looks cool. And then what you're going to do is make it 3D. So you're just going to add another line. That makes it nice and thick. Once again, doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to be painting over this. Alrighty. And we'll start there. And if you want, you can add a couple extra planets. That's why I had you pick your favorite color. So you can add a random planet that's your favorite color. So we'll put just a small little circle up here. Alright. And if you wanted, you could put another small one down here. Which I think I will. Just a little tiny one. But we really want Saturn to be the main show. Alright? And now that that's done, what I'm going to start us off doing, all my stuff is back here, so you see me grabbing back here. That's why. So get your black paint. You can also use a really dark blue if you want to. And put it on whatever you're mixing your paints on. And then for this, I would get a nice big brush. Make sure that it's pretty dry. That way your paint doesn't go everywhere. Get it full of just black paint. And what you're going to do is you're going to follow the outline of where you put everything. And you're going to paint everything around it black. That way you have a nice solid foundation for the rest of your painting. And I'm going to go do that real quick. That way you don't have to watch me paint all that. And then I'll be right back. So I'm about halfway done with the painting, so I figured that I'd show you. This is kind of what you're looking for, just a really loose black all the way around. I honestly felt bad for saying I was going to abandon you guys to paint all this black alone. I know it's kind of boring to just pause a video and then finish what they told you to do. So I'm going back on my word and I'll paint the rest of it with you. So you're just going to keep going around. And you probably want a pretty good size paintbrush for this. That way it doesn't take you a whole lot of time. And then just follow all those lines that you made, trying to give yourself a good outline. And this part will be like the back of space. Alright. And you'll want a pretty good coverage. You'll need less paint than you think, but still a pretty decent amount. Make sure you're just a little careful around the Saturn because you will be using yellow, and yellow doesn't like to show up on black a whole bunch. So if you have to around the Saturn, switch to like a smaller paintbrush. That way you can be more careful with the lines. I'll probably do that in just a minute. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this painting. I love space. My cats are called Saturn and Jupiter. So clearly. I love them. I love space. Saturn is my favorite planet. I even have a little tattoo of it. You can see it right there. So, space has always made me very happy. And now at this point, I'm going to switch to my smaller paintbrush. Make sure that it's nice and dry. And we're going to go and clear up those lines a bit. My paintbrush got ruined a little bit, so it's a little wonky. And then if your planets end up smaller than you originally drew them, that's okay. That's what happens with painting. You just want some general lines to try and help you out. So you'll be fine if they're a little smaller. Alright, so this is the most important part right here. But once again, if you mess it up, it's fine. There's ways to fix it. So you're going to go nice and careful with some black paint. And you're going to carefully outline where the ring is. So like that. As you can tell, I kind of messed up a couple places there. Or maybe you can't. But we'll fix that later. And then you're going to do the same thing, but with this little space that's inside the ring. This one you want to make sure you don't have too much paint clumped up for. So you're just going to go like that. And paint the inside there for you. And there you go, you have the first defined side of the ring. And then you're just going to go around the rest of the planet. Make sure that it looks nice. And then here's the second ring, which I already like covered half in black paint. So we're okay. Mistakes don't matter here. I mess up on painting all the time, and then I just end up getting my hands dirty, and then I go finger painting. Yes. So we're almost done. Just gonna clean up these last few places. Alright. And there we go. We have 3 kind of circles on our page. Circles don't have to be perfect. I've been doing art for years now. And they always look lopsided, so no worries. Actually, we're not done. I almost forgot to do the inside of this ring. If you ever need to steady yourself, just put a finger on the canvas. Your hands will get a little dirty, but if you're using acrylic paint, it'll wash right off. So, there we go. There's the second side of the ring. Once again, make sure all you use paintbrushes go in water so you can wash them off. And we're going to let this sit for a minute and dry. So, I'll be back. Alright, we're back with a mostly dry canvas. You should be able to tap it and get nothing on your finger. Don't mind the black paint, that's from earlier. So we're going to start actually doing the Saturn. Also, my cat is on the counter that my computer is on, so you might see her in the corner. So the Saturn we'll actually start mixing paint for, but first we're just going to do a base layer of yellow. So just get out your yellow. You'll need a bit less than the black since you're not trying to cover a whole canvas. And then I would recommend using your big brush again. Once again, make sure it's rinsed off in some water. Give it a good dry. I always do it on the back of my hand to make sure it's dry. Don't do this unless you're okay with paint getting on your arm, because sometimes that'll happen. Alright, you're going to start with your yellow. And then I like to start in the center. And you're just going to go all the way out, and you're going to follow this outline that you've made in black. I always like starting with a nice bright yellow, because I think it makes the planet look prettier. Saturn in reality is more of like a beige-ish color, but it's such a pretty planet that I like to use almost like a gold for it. My cat is meowing in the background and causing trouble. So we'll see how well this goes. And you see, you can get a little bit of yellow out in the corners. You can just use your finger and it'll go away. And then if you have little white spots that aren't going to be colored by either paint, that's fine. You can go back later and fill it back in with more black to clean up some lines. And then I like to leave the ring alone for now. We'll still be using yellow for it, but I like to save it for last on the planet just because it is easier to differentiate what's the ring and what's not. So I like to focus fully on the planet first, and I need more yellow paint. It's better to pour out too little paint than to pour out too much, because if you pour out too much, you can't put it back in the tube. So, but if you're okay with losing some paint, I guess it's fine. I still use way too much paint, especially when I'm mixing colors, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I wish I knew some fun facts about Saturn. I don't. Otherwise, I would tell you guys some fun facts. I know some fun facts about stars, such as there's a star called Betelgeuse, which is one of the biggest stars in our planets and one of the in our solar system, and it is also one of the brightest. And so oftentimes if you look out at night, you'll be able to see Betelgeuse. I believe it's in the northern sky. Not too sure though. Alright. So as you can see, I've pretty much finished up the yellow. Once again, it's not perfect, but it'll get better. Alright, and this is where we're going to start mixing some paints. So I'm going to try and show you my palette, while trying to make sure, once again, that my cat doesn't get in trouble. She wants to sniff it. Okay. So as you can see, I have a little bit of yellow left on this. You have two options. We're going to do the darker part of the planet, which will be down here. We're going to make our light come from over here. I should say. You have two options with this. You can either mix in a little bit of blue or a little bit of black. It just depends on what you're feeling and what you have. I personally like to use blue. I think it makes it look nicer. Makes the colors blend a bit better. So I'm going to grab my blue, and you're going to just need a tiny bit. I wouldn't put it right next to your yellow. You'll want something that looks a bit like this, so you just have your little tiny blue up top. I have a smaller brush. I like to dip it and mix it just a little bit at a time. So just put your blue brush right in the middle of your yellow and just swirl it around. And you'll get something that's a bit greenish. So I added way too much blue, so it's way too yellow. Not yellow, too green. If that happens, just add more of whatever color you need until it looks right. I'm going to add more yellow. I'm going to mix it in a more concentrated spot. That way I get more of the color I want. That's kind of the color that you're looking for. Now it's a little hard to see, where it looks just like a little green. So not super yellow, not super green, but a nice, like, kind of mustard color, I guess, is the best way to describe that. I like to do this so the big chunks of my paint are off my brush. And then you're going to grab this, and you're going to follow the bottom outline of the planet. So it'll be right about here. You're going to be mixing with your yellow paint, which is the point. You just want to make sure that this color gets in right. So you're just going to go along the bottom like that. And it's a little hard to see. I think my paint actually might be too yellow. Art is all about experimenting and messing up, so don't feel discouraged if it goes awry. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of black to my paint to darken up. if I have any black left on my canvas, my mixing block. There we go. You just want a darker shade of yellow right here. Just keep adding it until it looks right. And if you want, you can keep making darker and darker yellow shades by either adding blue or black. And you'll eventually get just a small color gradient. It's kind of hard to see on camera. But yeah, just use that weird greenish shade and keep layering it up. Do it around the bottom here and keep moving up, making sure that you're blending it in with that yellow. That way you get a nice gradient. As you can see, I didn't clean my brush too well. I keep getting black strokes in it. So it's a little hard to see, but you can see that it's darker down here and it gets lighter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep making it darker. So you're going to add a little bit more blue to your paint, make an even darker green. I know it seems weird to be putting green on the yellow planet, but trust me, it'll look decent. Oh, I saw blue on there. If at any point you want to wash your brush, go ahead. And as you do darker colors, I like to focus it more towards one side, so we're going to focus it in this little corner of the planet, rather than going all the way across the bottom. So now you can kind of see it showing up a bit better. It's not going to look perfect. You're going to have brush strokes in there. Unless you can find a way to get it perfectly smooth, in which case you're better than I am. So, but there we go. You see how that looks? That's kind of what you're going for. It makes even more blue. And this will be the smallest section that we do. And it's going to be right there. And as you can see, it's kind of mixing with the black of the background. That's okay. We can define that with a solid black later. Alright. And then what I like to do is rinse off my brush. Whenever it's dry. I'm going to get a little bit more yellow. Just a tiny bit. Get a little bit on your brush. And what I like to do is start here and put it through to kind of make everything blend together. That way it's more smooth than it is rough. And looks like it could be a whole planet. And there you go. That's kind of the dark side of the planet. At this point, you can also add stripes along the planet if you want. Just like pale, dark stripes all the way across. And sometimes that'll make it look cool. Saturn does have some pretty pale stripes. So you can just add this if you want some extra detail, make it look more interesting. Just have fun with it. If you get tired of making Saturn look like Saturn, make it look like a different planet. So there, I just added one little line. Go back in with some yellow, just to make sure that line is nice and smooth. Okay, rinse off your brush. Next, we're going to do the highlights of the planet. So we've done the shadows down here, so we're going to do the bright side up here. And so there's another two options for this one. I'll be doing my favorite, but I'll tell you what the other one is. For this one, you're going to want white paint. And if you're going to do the second option, you're going to want yellow paint as well. So what I like to do with the white paint is I like to put it on the canvas up here. Do a really bright line right there. And mix it out with some yellow. That can be a little hard, so if you just want to make some lighter colors, just take white and like you did with the blue, add a little bit of white at a time. And then your top should be solid white. And I'll show you what I mean That was a vague explanation. I'll give you an example of what to do if you're going to do the mixing really quick, just so you know, because I know it can be hard to hear things and then to be expected to do them. As you can see, my palette has become a mess. So I have a little bit of yellow right here, and it's kind of hard to see, but I have some white right there. So you're going to grab a little bit of white on your paintbrush, and then just mix it in with the yellow until you have a lighter yellow than what you started with. So that's the regular yellow there, and as you can tell, that's a little bit lighter. A little hard to tell, but so just keep doing that, and then you're going to keep working your way up. Since I have this color, I might be able to use it. So we're going to use it up top here. My cat is about to get on the counter again. There she is. Just popped in real quick. She likes to steal my pencils and brushes. Alright, and that's kind of what you want to do with the top color. As you can see, well, my camera seems to be really bad, but lighter colors will show up a bit better on the yellow than the darker colors. Sometimes the darker colors take a while to build up. I'm going to clean my brush again because I still have some leftover black paint on it. And my cat is going to try and eat my computer in the meantime. Alright. I'm going to actually change this because I'm having trouble. Look at how gross that paint water is. It's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed my cat there for a minute. She's going to steal at least one brush before she leaves. I can promise you that. Alright. I'm just getting more white paint behind here so that I can start doing the highlights. So this is what I like to do. I like to take a pretty thick jalapeno white and just do it right along the top here. It'll kind of blend in by itself, so just keep adding it. Just keep going like that. See, you can kind of see it there. And then what you're going to do is take out the excess paint off of your brush, and then just kind of brush that this way, where you're going down each time. So that way, it kind of transitions into the yellow, and you have a bright top, but you still have a bright yellow center. And one of the things I should have told you to do is take your dark green color, and right here, on the top side of the ring, add it, because the ring casts a little shadow on the planet. And this will make the ring really pop when we put it in. Alright. And sometimes I just like to add random flourishes, like shadows up the edges and stuff like that. You don't have to. It's all up to you, honestly. I just like doing it because I think it looks neat. Alright. Add a little bit more white. Take the excess off my brush. Do the same thing that I did before. If you end up with some chunks of paint on your canvas, like up here where it's super bright, that's fine. Your painting will just end up being a little textured, which I personally think is pretty cool. Alright. Mix in the yellow with this dark part down here. Oh, that's a little bit of white. That's okay. Alright. So that's what we have so far. It looks kind of weird, but that's okay. Alright. Clean off your brush again, which I forgot that I put it over here. Yeah. And so next up, we're going to leave it alone. We're going to do the other planets real quick. I'll show you just some fun things to do with them. And then we'll come back to the ring, and then we'll add some stars, and we'll be done. Alright. So, I think I'm going to start with this bigger planet up here. You can start with that one down there if you want. These ones we're just going to have fun with. You don't have to make them actual planets. So for this one, like I said, make sure you grab your favorite color. And we're just going to make this our favorite colors. My favorite color is purple and green. But I think green is kind of a weird color for a planet. So is purple, but... Alright. So I have to mix my paints. If you have your paints ready, you can go ahead and start doing like a base level or whatever you want to do. Alright. I got a nice purple. It looks more magenta. Well, oh well. Okay. And then you're just going to start painting this one. If you want, you can start with a regular coat, and then you can add some designs to it. I'll show you what you can do. We're just going to paint this in real quick. And you might start hearing my cats meow a lot. It is almost their feeding time. Alright. Just try and make sure it's decently covered. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you're going to be adding those designs. If you want everything to look nice and neat, you can paint in the same direction the entire time. So I like to go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. But you don't have to. It's not that important. Alright, there's my purple planet. So what I'm going to do for this one, since it's a really dark planet, is I'm going to take some white. I'm going to put it all the way around. That way it looks a bit like it's been like shadowed from behind. Or lit up from behind, rather. Just do that all the way around so it can kind of pop. And you can do this too. You can add stripes, you can add spots, you can make it look like your favorite animal. It's really just fun about these ones. We have one serious planet, and then the rest of them we're just going to have some fun with. Alright. And then I'm going to go all the way around. Make sure that white is nice. Grab some more purple. And make it look more cohesive. So it doesn't look just like one bright ring. Alright. I'm going to leave one kind of dark spot right there. Alright. And then next, I'm going to add some blue stripes because I think that would look cool. So I like to make my stripes wavy. You can make them go just across. You can even add like little circles. Whatever you're feeling. My cat's going to make a lot of noise in just a minute. So I'm just going to keep painting while she does her thing. Alright. And then if you wanted to make these blues pop even more, you could add a light blue inside of the dark blue, because as you can tell, they're kind of dull on screen. And to do that, you just have to mix white with whatever color. If you want to make a color darker, add black. If you want to make a color lighter, add white. I'm sure some of you knew that already. Alright. Cool. Yeah. Alright, and I'm going to add some white in the middle of these lines, just to make them pop a little more. And the blues have kind of faded now, which wasn't my intention, but you know what? It's fine. It looks like a wavy planet, and that's pretty cool. Alright. And then lastly, I think I'm going to add just a little bit of pink to it. Just a little bit. About right here. My brush is very dirty. That's what you don't want to do. If you do, it's no worries. Just a little bit of pink right there. just to kind of make it pop a little more. A little hard to see, but that's okay. And then we're going to clean that brush. See, if your hands get dirty like mine, it's fine. I'm going to use a really small brush. And then I'm going to take my white again and just do a thin line across the top. And maybe all the way around. We'll see what I'm feeling when I get there. Alright. Once again, you can do this with any color. You can do it with green. You can do it with purple. You can do it with red. I think red would look pretty cool. You get like a nice Mars effect. I just wanted to go with something outrageous like purple. I think this will be my own planet. I will call it Morp. For no reason. You can name your planets too. If you make a custom planet, you gotta name it. You can name it whatever you want. Alright, so it looks kind of funky. But that's okay. Alright. Next part. We're gonna do this little planet down here. And it's so small. I think I just want to make that the planet Pluto. And even though Pluto was considered not a planet pretty recently, Pluto was a planet since I was a kid, so to me it's still a planet. I just can't get rid of it. So Pluto is gray, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of white and a little bit of black. Mostly white. Alright, I'll show you again. So I got my white over here, I have my fresh black over here. I'm just going to lightly dip my brush and mix it in. Black will do a lot very fast, so you only want to add black a little bit at a time. Excuse me. Alright, so we have a nice light gray, and we're going to use that first. Over here. And make nice circles. There we go. And it's so small, it's very quick. And if you wanted to, you could make this any color you want. It doesn't have to be gray. I know gray can kind of be a boring color. I just saw it and couldn't help think of Pluto, so. And then to get a darker gray, you're just gonna add more black. And then you end up with a gray like that. You can keep mixing in your lighter gray if you want something a bit lighter than that, which I do. And then we're going to do the same thing and put it along the bottom of the planet. And you're going to just keep going darker like you did before until you reach almost black. There we go. And then I like to use my regular gray. As you can see, my brush is still very dirty. Try to be better at cleaning your brush than I am, so you don't end up with something like that. It's okay if you don't. It's all part of the process. Alright, there you are. Then I'm going to take my super small brush, grab a little bit of white, which has vanished. My brush is also not clean. Alright. Grab a little bit of white, put a little dot right here. It'll be a little hard to see on camera. That's okay. A little bit of white, just to lighten it up a bit. Awesome. And then if you want, you can also add some spots to it. I think I will. This will end up making it look a bit more like the moon, but I think that'd be pretty cool. Just try and make sure that if you do make these holes or craters, they are darker than the color that's beneath them, otherwise they won't show up. So as you can see, I'm just doing that. Alright, I'll just add 1, 2, 3 more for fun. Now it's the moon. We don't have Pluto anymore. Alright. Next, we're going to do the ring. And we're nearing the end, so we're almost there. As you can see, we have a pretty nice space factor now. We're going to add this, and I'll show you how to make it more cohesive. So I'm going to use my medium brush for this. Let me rinse it off, and then I'll show you. It's covered in white paint. Okay. This is kind of the size that I'm using. Kind of hard to see. There you go. See? And we're going to grab some more yellow. If you ran out, I did. Just a little bit. Don't need a whole bunch for this. And it's going to be your brightest yellow. And you're just going to fill in the ring. Sorry, it's gotten super dark. It got very cloudy outside. Alright. And you're just going to do that, and you're going to follow those lines that you left open. As you can see, yellow has a hard time covering black, but that's okay. And you're going to bring this all the way through. Alright. And mine is still blending in a little bit with the planet, as you can see. So I'm going to grab my small paintbrush again. And I'm going to grab more white. And we're going to make it pop. Alright. So what you're going to do is you're going to follow the bottom of the ring. And you're going to go all the way across. That way it separates the top of the ring from the bottom of the ring, and also the planet from the ring. Lots of rings. Rings, rings, rings. If you wanted to, you could also mix white with the yellow initially and make it a lighter yellow. I just personally like to keep it a nice, bright yellow. Alright. And then just keep doing that as you need. If you need to add more dark up top, that way you can define it up top, do it, which is probably what I'll do. You can also add dark under the ring, if you really need it to pop. But I think the white should do the trick for me. It can be a little messy. Alright. And then if you're having trouble with the black, the white will help a bit. Just add a little bit of white to it, and it should clean it up. Alright, I'm going to grab a little bit more of my dark color and go up top. And maybe the bottom. I know I said the white would be enough for me. I lied, it wasn't. Just to make sure that ring is super clear, because it is one of the most important things about Saturn, in my opinion, are the wonderful rings. Alright. I remember I used to think Saturn was the only planet that had rings, and then I learned that Uranus does. It has faint blue rings that go this way. And I thought that was pretty cool. But Saturn will always be my favorite for its big, beautiful rings. Alright. I'm almost done here. And there we are. It's kind of hard to see, but on camera we have a nice defined ring. And two other cool little planets. I'm sorry it got so dark. Here, I'll turn on the light real quick. There we go. That's a bad glare. I'm sorry. Okay, it looks like we'll just have to keep it at this. Okay. So the last step is going to be stars. which will make everything here kind of come together. If you want, you can use a Q-tip for this with a rounded edge. It might make the stars a little easier to define. So you want to get a decent amount of white, because that's all you'll be using for this. And get that white on your brush. And what I like to do is I like to choose a cool little path for the stars. So I think I'm going to go like this. So kind of behind this planet and around. So I'll do one center line of dots so that I can kind of figure that out. It's not picking up too good on the camera. And these don't have to be perfect. They're just to fill in some space. Hello, Mrs. My cat is desperate for food. She thinks she's starving when she ate food last night. Alright. So I have a line that kind of goes like that, and what we're going to do is this is going to be a super thick clump of stars. So they're going to kind of be like if you know a meteor belt, it'll kind of be like that. So it's a little hard to see up here. I wonder if I can tilt it. No. I have a bunch of stars up here. Just keep putting them down. I'll try and make them brighter for you. There you are. And just do that. Once again, you can use a Q-tip. That's good for making dots. And you're going to do just a bunch of dots really clustered together along that line of dots that you drew. You can make them overlap each other if you want, because stars are so far apart from each other that they would overlap each other in space. We just can't see them because they're so far away we can't define when that happens. Alright. Nearing the end here. Alright. See? So we got a nice line that kind of connects all the planets. If you wanted to, you could add even more. Like, I think I might come from here and add another one that connects down here. This is pretty much just do whatever you want. Add whatever stars feel right. If you don't want to make lines like this and you're fine with your planets as they are, then that's just fine as well. Alright. I didn't make a line this time, so I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Alright. You're just going to keep adding those dots. It's kind of tedious and time-consuming, but I promise you it'll make it look cool. Alright. There you go. So we have a couple cool little paths of stars. And then for the rest of this space, you're just going to kind of dot some stars around. Not quite as clustered, but still a decent amount of stars, so that it looks like a nice starry sky. Which are my personal favorites. If you want to, you can add stars in front of the planets. I don't like how it looks personally. But if your planet wants to sparkle with stars, go for it. Alright. Almost done here. My cats are yelling again. My cat stopped my recording. Alright. Good thing we're almost done, because they're getting antsy. Alright, and there you are. And then if you wanted to, you can connect some of the stars with lines. You don't have to. I personally will not. but to make like constellations and stuff. Here's my cat. She's being a nuisance. Alright, and then as a last minute thing, since we have some white, if you want to, your planets should be mostly dry by now, so you can add just little white lines to make sure that they stand out a bit. And then if you do want to go back and add some more black to fill in the kind of sketchy spaces that have like rough edges like I have right here, you can do that as well. But I will not. I like the sketchiness, and I think that's about it for the painting. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was decently easy to follow along with, and now you have a painting of my favorite planet. I hope you all have a good day, and see you later.